Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today in the mail I received my Weight Watcher cookbook, the best of WW. I still call it Weight Watchers. Call it whatever you want. I can't bring myself to say WW. I don't know why. I guess it's just because it's always been Weight Watchers to me. Same difference, but I don't want to confuse anybody. I received my cookbook today. I got it free for signing up for an 8-month plan or something to that effect. Anyway, today I am going to be making the almond cherry oat bars, and if you happen to have the book, it's on page 113. It's not a very good picture, and you really can't see the recipe, but I'll write it down in below in the description. I don't typically purchase cookbooks because it's 2020 and I don't print things out, and I don't keep them saved. It takes up too much space. Cookbooks, in my opinion, I have to find a place to keep it, and then it doesn't get used because I forget it's there. So I don't tend to buy cookbooks, but it was free and I'm not going to turn down a free cookbook. Another reason I don't purchase them is because I'm a really picky eater, and there's a ton of stuff in here that I would never ever eat. But there's also some stuff in here that even though I wouldn't eat it, I could modify it a little bit, just use it as like a base, and I could kind of create my own thing from it. But I was just scrolling through it, and I had all of the stuff to make the almond cherry oat bars. So today I'm going to be making that, and I will tell you the points for each plan because they are listed here and it's easy for me to figure it out, but I don't typically do that, I know. The blue and the green plan, they will be 5 points, and it does make 16 bars, and the purple plan, that's a tongue twister, is 4 points. And like I said, it makes 16 servings. So the only thing this does call for, obviously, it is an almond cherry bar, but I don't have any cherries. So I'm going to use just mixed fruit. I have mixed strawberries or blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries or something. I don't know. I have a mixed bag of something. So I'm going to replace that for the cherries. But stick with me. I'm going to get everything gathered up before I come back, and we'll see what they taste like. Okay, I'm just going to give a quick rundown of the ingredients. It calls for old-fashioned oats. I have quick oats. I don't really know if that's going to make a difference or not, but that's what I have, and that's what I'm going to use. It calls for flour. I have self-rising flour, so I am just going to leave out the baking powder, but it does call for baking powder. And again, I will leave the exact measurements in the description for everyone who wants to make it. You need almonds, but I have whole almonds. I'm going to give mine a chop in the food processor to make them smaller. Calls for baking soda, brown sugar, vanilla. It calls for almond butter. This is all I have, so I don't know if it's gonna change the points or not, but I'll have to do that in the recipe builder. It also calls for, I don't know if I said, it calls for extra virgin olive oil. All I have is coconut oil, so that may affect the points as well. I'm going to have to put that in the builder as well. And it calls for cherries, but I am using this triple berry blend. Blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries that I got at Sam's. Again, you can use any kind of fruit you want. Even if you don't like cherries and you don't like this, you can maybe add peaches. I don't know. You could probably do it any way you want it. Just make sure that the bag or the fruit that you're using is 100% fruit, no added sugars, anything like that, or it will change the points. And it calls for 2 large egg whites, but I don't have those out. Okay, I'm back. I figured out my tripod, and I can put my phone in it differently, which makes a huge difference. My face doesn't look quite as chubs, but it's all right. I am going to move the camera so you get a better view, but I just put the oats, the flour, the cinnamon, which I did not measure out. I just kind of sprinkled it in there, a little bit of salt, baking soda. I did not add baking powder because I have self-rising flour. And I believe that's all that's in here. I did roughly chop up my almonds. It's a pretty rough chop. There's still some big chunks in there. I put it in the food processor. And I'm going to put that in there as well. And let's see. This smells good already. I'm going to go ahead and get all of the other ingredients gathered up, and I will show you from there. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Now it calls for half a cup of packed brown sugar. And this stuff that I'm working on right now, it says to mix it separately from the flour and oat mixture, and then towards the end you mix it all together. It calls for a 1/4 cup of EVO extra virgin olive oil, but all I have is coconut, and this is obviously not going to be a full 1/4 of a cup, because once you melt it, it would not be a 1/4 of a cup. But I'm kind of skimping on it, only because I know that the oil is going to add a lot of points, and honestly, I even contemplated leaving it out just for points. But if it had called for a tablespoon, I probably would have left it out, but it called for a 1/4 of a cup, and I didn't really know how important that was to the recipe. So I did obviously not use a completely full 1/4 cup, but I'm gonna make that work. It calls for 2 large egg whites. If it had just called for the yolk, I would have kept the actual egg whites and not thrown them in the trash. I probably could have kept the yolk, but I'm not going to this time. But I don't typically waste too much stuff. I try to use as much stuff as I can. It calls for half a teaspoon of vanilla. I just have this Watkins vanilla. I don't measure stuff like this. That's why I'm not the world's best baker. Calls for 3/4 cup of cherry, but all I have is mixed berries, and it is a little bit closer to a cup. Can't hurt there, right? And it does call for, losing my place, 2 tablespoons of almond butter, and all I have is natural peanut butter. I would imagine you could probably use regular peanut butter as well. I don't know. I mean, not like the natural. Maybe you could use chunky. I don't know. Whatever you wanted, I guess. So, do 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. My hands are clean, folks, and honestly, I'm the only person going to be eating these. So I'm hoping that they freeze well. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, the next step is to combine these two together. And then put it into, I think, an 8-inch pan for 25 minutes at 350. So I'm going to get all of this taken care of, and I will be back. Okay, I'm back. It called for an 8-inch baking pan, but I don't know what size this is. The bottom part's worn off, and this is like, other than an 9 by 13 and a really small loaf pan, this was the best I had. So, yeah, my bars might be a little bit small. I might have to count a little bit more, but like I said, if you have the right stuff, then everything will probably come out according to the actual recipe itself. But this is what it looks like. Just smash it into the pan. It did say to, this is why I'm a horrible baker. It did say to add the cherries or the fruit, whatever you're adding to it, at the end, probably like sprinkled more on the top. Probably make it look a little bit more attractive. This one's all like weird colored because it's got purple in it from the berries and stuff. But I have to say, with just 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, you can really, really smell the peanut butter. So I honestly think these are going to be delicious regardless of what they look like, but trial and error, right? So whatever, who cares? I I did spray the pan before I put the stuff in it, and I am going to put it in the oven now. 350 degrees for 25 minutes, but you need to check the toothpick, knife, whatever you put in there, and make sure it comes out clean. So it might take a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on your oven. And I'm going to put them in the oven, and I will be back. Today's special guest is Toby, dog sitting for a few days. Hi, buddy. You're a good boy too, huh? Yeah? You're a good boy? Stretch it out. And as always, Mr. Waffles. Bubby. Hey. Hey. Say hello. Say hello. Okay, welcome back. They're out of the oven, and they're really small. It may be the fact that I didn't have the right size pan, and I also cut them into 18 versus 16, which lowered them by 1 point. But again, they're kind of tiny. I'm hoping that they're really good. I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to try it, but this is the size of it. Kind of small. Honestly, there's probably a lot of other things that I wouldn't mind making that would be better in points, but try anything once. That wasn't a big enough piece to taste. I'm trying to think of how I feel. You can definitely taste the peanut butter, which is a little bit surprising. Not horribly surprising, but for only having 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, I kind of feel like it wouldn't be as peanut buttery. But it's not insanely peanut buttery, but it has a good peanut butter flavor. And I can taste the almond. It kind of reminds me of the texture of like a muffin. So maybe you can make them in a muffin form and change up the points a little bit. I don't know how you would do that, but perhaps if I used a different size pan. It is a little bit thick, but it's a little thick, kind of like a banana-y type bread might be, but it's not very large in size. And I got it down to 4 points, and I did add everything into the recipe builder using the modifications that I had. Like I used regular natural peanut butter instead of almond butter, and I used coconut oil instead of extra virgin olive oil. And to be honest with you, the almonds and the oil are really what add up into your points. So if I were going, because this is really good. I'm not saying it's not good. It's really good. I just don't know if it's worth 4 to 5 points for the serving that you get. I'm going to have the rest of this with some coffee. I did track it. I'm going to eat it, and I'm obviously going to eat the things that I have. I'm going to try to freeze them. I don't know how well they'll freeze, but you know, there are other desserts that I can make that would be less points and be just as good and be bigger, but they're definitely good. They're definitely good. They have a really good peanut buttery flavor, but I think that if I did try them again, I might use less nuts and maybe even just completely leave out the oil, because I want to say that the oil was like 20 points. I don't know exactly. I don't remember. And I literally just did it in my builder, and I honestly don't remember. But I do know that the points came mostly from the nuts and the oil. So if you leave those things out, you could probably modify it a little bit better, which is something that I would try to do next time. Maybe even just use like a couple tablespoons of oil. I don't know. It's definitely worth making. It's good. Again, I'll show you cookbook. Best of. I don't know if this is a cookbook you can buy at one of the workshop things that people go to. I'm only an online app member, so I don't know if this is a cookbook you can purchase, but I got it free. It's a nice cookbook, but I don't typically buy cookbooks because they just take up too much space, and there's some really good recipes in here, and like I said earlier, there's a lot of stuff in here that I would never make because it's like, it has like shrimp and salmon and stuff like that, and I'm not into those kinds of things, but I could easily modify those things and add chicken in place of the fish or whatever. So it's still a really nice cookbook for free. Can't beat it. But I hope that you like, share, and subscribe, and I do hope you make it. Like I said, you may want to modify it a little bit. You get a bigger piece or for a smaller portion, or I don't know, less points. It is kind of cakey. I don't know if that's on my end, or it may be the oats too, because it did say old-fashioned oats and I had quick oats. I don't know if that's a difference or not, but it's still really good. So please like, share, and subscribe, and please come back for more recipes. Thank you.